We are Leland Eating and Drinking House, and we're located here in Prospect Heights in Brooklyn, New York. We'll probably average about 1,500 covers for the week. Lunar New Year is basically that, but every day. Fire rillette, order in a whole fried fish. Our Lunar New Year menu will change from year to year, but this year we're really excited about our pork and shrimp Shu Mai, the Char Siu, and our Dan Dan Noodles. We're always folding in our ethos with Lunar New Year and being sustainable and using the whole animal. Sustainability has become a buzzword, but it is a really important fundamental prerequisite of being a good chef. We just do it naturally in practice because it's the right thing to do. This is half of a Tamworth pig from Heritage Foods. And this is what we will be breaking down in order to build out our Lunar New Year menu. This shoulder will be our Char Siu. This is going to be the rib chops and the pork chop area. Trim from this area will be ground, or either our Shu Mai, dim sum, and our Dan Dan meat sauce.
Tamworth can be traced back to England in the early 1800s. Where it came from before that is a little subject to debate. I'm Irish, so I think it came from Ireland.
Let's give it to the Irish.
We'll give it to the Irish. They can have a win.
Something.
Yeah. But then in the early 1900s, this breed nearly went extinct. There's only a few thousand of them that are being bred actively every year. I think their total global numbers are like 50 or 60,000 now. So we're very lucky that we even get them because there's just not that many, and they're very tasty.
So every week we bring in half a pig, and it comes via Heritage Foods. And from them is this network of small family farms. What Patrick and Heritage Foods have done by kind of resurrecting these rare heritage breeds, and what we are trying to support are these local farms that have these amazing breeds that can be introduced to the rest of the country. So this part right here that Gary just took off, this is part of its vertebrae, right? And then this is its ribs. And so we will actually still use this, not just for stock, but this makes amazing soup. I feed it to my staff every other week. It's called sinigang. And that is something that we will likely special throughout Lunar New Year. If you are Filipino or Filipino adjacent, you should come by because it is my favorite.
I love being Filipino adjacent.
All right, we have our pork shoulder for our Char Siu. Now we're gonna make a quick cure. So we're gonna come in with some salt, and then the other kind of pillar of this cure is going to be 5-spice. It's got this really warming quality. It's got kind of sweet notes, like some nuttiness in there too. Black pepper and then white pepper. So the cure is going to season the actual meat, and then the marinade will kind of bring it all together and give it that complete flavor there. Because we will be basically seasoning this and then marinating it, it's gonna need that salt. And all of this will also help create this bark on the outside. We've got it cured. We're gonna let this hang out for half an hour. So now we will be making sort of the wet marinade side of it. The base of that is going to be hoisin. Then we're gonna add some white pepper, some black pepper, some 5-spice, ginger and garlic. Also, you can keep this in or not, but dry brine does not exist. So anything dry like that you're seasoning with the dry salt, pepper, spices, that is a cure. We had a word for that. Somewhere down the line, some influencer said dry brine, and the caught fire, and now literally everyone is saying dry brine, and I'm like losing my mind. I feel like we're in the upside down. Because now they're saying wet cure. I'm like, what the From here, we are going to slather this onto our curing pork, and then we're basically gonna let that sit for a day. Leland, I opened with my partner Randy in winter of 2020. We are what you would call a chef-forward neighborhood restaurant. So Lunar New Year, Randy and I both get super excited about. Randy is half Chinese, I'm Filipino. This year, Lunar New Year kicks off on February 17th, which is the year of the fire horse. So now we're at this point where the Char Siu pork shoulders have been seasoned and marinated, and we are now ready to roast them. So we're gonna give it a good sear on the plancha. That will help kind of lock in that flavor and give it that good bark that good Char Siu has. We're gonna go about 3 to 4 minutes on each side to really get some caramelization on there. That for me is what makes like a really great char siu. This is like caramelization from all the sugars and the cuisine. Gives you that trademark kind of sweet barbecue flavor and bark. And then what we'll do is we'll land them on this rack and we'll brush it with a little more char siu marinade, and then we'll go in the oven. Our barbecue char siu, definitely one of our most popular dishes. I think we ran out every night that we did it the first year. It's gotten to the point now where it's one of my favorite dishes. Now we are gonna make some Dan Dan noodles. So the first step for the Dan Dan noodle process is making our dough. This is Katie. She works down here in our bakery, and she will be making our Dan Dan dough. So this is some AP flour, a little salt, and she's gonna use some warm water. And the warm water actually helps hydrate the dough a little quicker. Since we do such a high volume here for Lunar New Year, and we do this for the whole week, we're basically every day just cranking out as many batches as we can. So now that it's mixed and it's kneaded for 5 minutes, the dough is going to need to rest for about half an hour. Fun fact, noodles, very, very important in Lunar New Year. It symbolizes longevity. And so every New Year, at least in my household, we eat pancit as kind of a way to ring in the new year. Leland actually is named after Randy's great uncle, who immigrated from China and set roots in Portland, Oregon, and was the person that the rest of Randy's family came to, and he would help them get settled as an immigrant community, and subsequently opened the first Chinese restaurant out there called Chin's Kitchen, which is still up there to this day. So now we are going to make the meat sauce for the Dan Dan noodles. So this is from the pig that we broke down earlier. And you notice I'm not adding any oil, so it's going to release a lot of its own fat. What we're looking for here is just some really good color, really good browning. And then we're just gonna go with everything else, basically. So I've got some cuisine, I've got some 5-spice, I've got some Sichuan peppercorns. The Sichuan peppercorns are really important because that's what gives the little tingle, the little numbing sensation on your palate when you're eating Sichuan food. And then we've got some of our house chili oil, some tamari, and some cooking wine, Jiaoxing. I've eaten at many Sichuan restaurants. No two Dan Dans are the same. So I have developed our own version. We're gonna add some chopped ginger and garlic. Now, the last thing I'm gonna add is some tahini. Dan Dan noodles will traditionally include some sort of sesame paste. For convenience purposes, we use tahini, which is also sesame paste. Now that the Dan Dan meat sauce is ready, we just gotta mix it with some noodles. All right, so now we've got our noodle dough. She's rested for about half an hour. So what we'll do is we'll portion them. Each order will be about 120 grams. Then we'll run them through the machine, use the cutter, and then we'll make some noodles. Dan Dan noodles, again, one of my all-time favorites. It is just such a flavor-packed bowl of noodles. And we will finish ours with a nice soft poached egg. I think that really helps bring everything together. That, runny egg yolk kind of acts as part of a binder for that sauce that's in there. Our pickled zucchini relish that's in there gives it this nice, bright, zingy pop. It's just such a satisfying dish to enjoy. We're gonna be making some Shu Mai now. What makes ours different is the fact that we use local ingredients. This is some Montauk royal red shrimps that we'll be adding to our pork mixture. First step is going to be adding our pork, which came from our half pig. Now that we've added the pork, we can add everything else. White pepper, some toasted sesame oil, and then I'm gonna be adding some oyster sauce, and then we'll add just a touch more tamari. This is some tapioca starch. This will help bind the mixture and give it this really familiar sort of chew and bounce when you bite into these Shu Mai. So now what I'll do is I'll add some mushroom mix and just kind of give it a rough chop here. The mushroom mix is shiitakes, some oakwood shiitakes, oyster mushrooms, and king oyster mushrooms. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the shrimp. I'm just gonna give it a rough chop. I'm gonna leave a couple of small pieces to garnish on top. So my family would go every other Sunday and we would go through 4 or 5 plates of these. Everybody in my family loves them. There was one called Harbor House that we would go to all the time that also had deep fried Shu Mai that was like wrapped in nori, which was insane. I've not seen that outside of California, actually. The pork and shrimp Shu Mai, it is shaped in the form of a coin purse, and a lot of Chinese symbolism is always about prosperity and longevity and wealth, and also just happens to be one of my favorite dim sums. I think for most people, it's going to be on their table. I think the only people that won't have it on their table are the vegetarians. Now more than ever, people care about where their food comes from. For us, it's really important to figure out locally, like, who can we support? If you're just going shopping somewhere because you're getting the best deal, is that more important to you than how this pig was raised? Because I guarantee you, happy pigs taste better.